Howdy, Possum Patty here for Authors Tea Tuesday. I've got my pumpkin bear mug with some orange and spice herbal tea. Let me take a sip. Still nice and warm. I've got my pumpkin shirt on. I've got my little pumpkin hat on. And I have my October gnomes here with me today. Yes, I do. I've got Frankie here and Corny and the wizard. They're all Dollar Tree gnomes. Yes, they are. Well, I need to play around here with the StreamYard for just a moment because I need to find people. Yes, I think. I don't know. Where's the chat? Oh, comments. Okay. All right. I think I'm there. I think I'm there. Let me check over on YouTube and see if I am live. Yes, I am. I am live. Here I am. Oh, I'm just playing with StreamYard tonight. And I wonder, welcome, welcome, all the gentle replayers and listeners out there. I'm going to go back to StreamYard. I'm going back to StreamYard. There's a feature here where you can put the screen up. I thought maybe I would put the screen up while I read some of the story, but it's going to take me a moment to figure that out. And I'm going to do that in just a sec. I want to read a little bit more of my story. Oh, maybe I should just do a quick recap. I know, because it's a little hard, right? It's a little hard when I read a little bit each week. And I didn't read anything last week. Christina, my guest, was here. Yes, and we talked about her books. And I wanted to go back, maybe recap a little bit of the story and read a little more. And maybe I'll do this first. Maybe I'll do this first. I bought one of Christina's books. I haven't opened it yet, so I don't know what it looks like. Well, I mean, I saw the picture on Amazon, but you know what I mean, right? You know what I mean. All right, so let me look inside. And did you guess which one I bought? I bet you didn't. I bet you didn't. Here it is. Rapunzel Lighthouse. Yes, Rapunzel Lighthouse. Yes, that'll make a nice journal cover. I have to stick it down there. Rapunzel's Lighthouse by Christina Lorenzen. And the synopsis is on the back. Georgie Daniels rarely leaves the cottage attached to the Salt Cliffs Lighthouse, except when necessary for a trip into town for food. For the last 2 years, since the lighthouse was declared a historic landmark, she's lived in the cottage out of sight and, she hopes, out of the minds of the town. With the defunct lighthouse in arrears and in disrepair, she knows it's only a matter of time before the lighthouse will be on the auction block of the town hall steps. With long hair that no one has seen before, except in the fabled fairy tale Rapunzel, things were going well until new neighbor Colby Ford shows up on her doorstep. Colby Ford didn't intend to retire from the Navy, at least not right now, when he finds himself with an injury that pushes him into an early retirement. The possibility of opening a sailing school in the coastal town of Salt Cliffs is his only hope. Renting the Moore cottage, he needs to find the right location for his school and a place to store the boats. While in town, a conversation with a storekeeper makes his curiosity about the lighthouse burn even stronger. What kind of woman lives alone in a defunct lighthouse? In need of paint for the cottage porch, he pays Georgie a visit. Feeling like he's seen her before, that's when it hits him. Georgie Daniels is a real-life Rapunzel, And this Rapunzel wants nothing to do with being neighborly until she's forced to save him during a storm. Georgie and Colby both have their share of disappointments and heartache. Just as Georgie is beginning to open up to him, a letter she finds threatens to shut her down again. Can their shared desperate need for a home bring them together? Rapunzel's Lighthouse. Yes, I just opened it up, so I'm going to have to read this and give you a little bit of a review. Rapunzel's Lighthouse. Oh, happily ever after, it said on the inside cover. She wrote this, published it in 2017. And it's one of those books, you know, when you order it, they print it on demand, I think. And so this came locally from North Haven, which is our local Amazon shop where they print the books. And it is oh no, wait, that's not the story. It's 113 pages long. Yes, it is. It's 113 pages long, nicely printed, and looks like it's going to be easy to read. Yes, for these old eyes. Okay, so book by Christina here. And now let me go to over here. I'm going to go back to, I was in StreamYard there, so I'm going to go back to YouTube for just a moment here. Okay. And now I am going to go to see if I can put, let's see. I have so many windows open all at the same time. Yes, I do. All right, I want to make that full screen. But then how do I get the other one? All right, let's see. All right, I'm just playing here with StreamYard. Just hang on for a sec. And I'm sorry. Sorry for the silence here. Yes, sorry for the silence. I don't see anyone in chat. I wonder if live viewer comments show up here. Click on a comment to show it on the screen. Oh, I see. I think I'm live. I hope I'm live. I hope I'm live. Yes, I hope I'm live because I'm using StreamYard. It worked well last week. And I think it looks like it's working. It looks like it's working here. Oh, Elizabeth is here. Howdy, howdy. Thank you, Elizabeth, for saying hello because I'm bouncing back between YouTube and StreamYard and trying to see if I'm live. Is it working? Yes. Technology. Yes, technology. And I was just going to put my book pages, hopefully, up on the screen here. That's what I'm working on. That's what I'm working on. Thank you for coming in and saying howdy. Just to let me know that that part was working. Yes, that part is working. Thank you so much. And I'm working on something right here, right now, live as we chat here. Okay, I think screen layout, press shift. Oh, that just puts me in a little puts me in a little box. Okay, sorry about that. I didn't mean to put me in a little box. Thank you, Elizabeth. Yes, I thought I could get my computer screen going here, but oh, Betty popped in. Howdy, Betty. Thanks for popping in. Howdy, howdy. I was just trying to get a picture of my screen up on the screen while I was reading the story, but maybe that's not necessary. Although I think some people like to follow along. So, oh wait. Kate's here. Howdy. First time here. Kate from Cleveland. Howdy, Kate from Cleveland. Oh, the one thing I didn't do was get out my notebook. So let me grab that and find my pen behind my tower of Halloween ribbons. Halloween ribbons, yes. Kate, first time here. Oh, if you go back and watch last Tuesday's live, yes, we had an author interview last week, and I interviewed Christina Lorenzen, and she's published 13 books, and we answered questions. Oh, it was a wonderful time. We had a good time. Yes, we did. And so I bought one of her books. I just unboxed it. Yes, I just did an unboxing. And I got Rapunzel's Lighthouse. I haven't read it because I just opened up the bag. And you can order her books on Amazon. I just got that. I'm looking forward to reading that. And I'm writing my very first book. My very first book. And so Kate L is new, and she's in Cleveland. Welcome, welcome. Oh, is somebody knocking on the door already? This is Soggy Bottom, and the mayor of Soggy Bottom, when I'm having a live, she likes to come in and say hello to her constituents. Oh, Mr. Possum opened the door for her. I was going to say, how did you do that? How did you do that? Yes, this is the mayor. Her name is Stinky Winky Woos. Yes, and she loves to come in and say howdy to everybody. Oh, she's in the thumbnail, right? She's in the thumbnail. Yes, studio supervisor. Annette came in. Howdy, Annette. Thanks for popping in. Yes, the mayor just came in. She was knocking on the door. And then the door opened and she walked in. But I think I saw Mr. Possum's hand on the doorknob. Yes, I don't think she did it. We were just welcoming in Kate, and this is her first time here, she says. And Kate is in Cleveland. Yes. And Betty's here and Elizabeth's here. Welcome, everybody. So, Annette, this is the book that I got from Christina. I got Rapunzel's Lighthouse. Did you guess that? Rapunzel's Lighthouse. Why did I do that? Why did I do that? Well, I have an adventure that I have to journal about. And I can't believe I caught you live on Sturdy. It says Annette. I'm just going to go over here. Now I got to carry this fat cat with me. Okay. I bought Rapunzel's Lighthouse. One, because I love fairy tales and I'm writing a fairy tale, and Rapunzel's name is the title of the book, and because I have this lighthouse journal. And Mr. Possum and I, a few weeks ago, went on a lighthouse adventure, which I have to journal about in this journal. So is this another journal that's going to have to be here on the table? And this is another one of my ring journals, and I made it out of a potato chip box. Potato chip box. So it's definitely a junk journal. And I was going to journal about our seaside adventures. We went to a captain's house, and I got some lighthouse postcards from Denmark. And there's not much in here, because Mr. Possum and I were going to go visit all the lighthouses up and down the New England coast. And we actually did take a cruise and saw a whole bunch of them from a ship. But I don't have them all in here yet. No. But that's why I got the lighthouse one first. Annette says, so awesome, Patty. I need to order some of her books. Yes. Tuesday. Oh, okay. Live on Tuesday. Gotcha. I'm like thinking live on sturdy. Spell checker, right? Spell checker. You never know what word's going to pop up there. Well, I'm going to start reading that, and I'll sort of like clue folks in as I go along. Yeah, how much I'm enjoying it. I read the back of it. So if you go back and watch the beginning of the live, I read the little intro on the back of the book. And from, I believe from Amazon, it's on, it's like a print on demand thing. So I can see it came from our local Amazon in North Haven, Connecticut, where I think they print them right there and then ship them right out. Yes. So all I was going to do today was share that I got the Lighthouse book and my Lighthouse journal, and that Mr. Possum and I went on an adventure, and I'm going to be journaling about that. And take down any notes I need to take down. I was working on a chapter the other day in my Soggy Bottom fairy tale, right? I think it's going to be the funniest chapter in the book. And when I work on it, every time I work on it, it just cracks me up and I'm laughing. And I'm laughing. What's Christina's last name? Lorenzen. Lorenzen. Oh, I can type that in if I can get my arm away from Miss Stinky Winky Woos there. Okay. Christina with a CH. Christina Lorenzen. Christina Lorenzen. Did that go? Yeah. Christina Lorenzen. I put it in the chat there, yes. And if you just Google her on Amazon, when I Googled her on Amazon, all the books didn't come up. But if you click on her picture and go to her author page, I think that's where you can see all the books. Because probably only like the top sellers come up first. But if you want to see all the books, go to her author's page, and then you can see the titles of the books. Yes. So I'm so excited to finally have gotten it. I just opened it up, so I'm going to get to reading that. And I'm going to shift this cat so I can take a sip of tea. Hopefully. Here, don't hang on to the table. Put your paw down here a minute. Oh. She's not cooperating. All right, put your paws up there if you want. But I'm going to have a sip of tea. I needed a sip of tea because I'm going to do some reading. And I have Orange and Spice by Bigelow. This is just herbal tea to wet my whistle while I read. Okay, I'm using StreamYard again. Anybody wants to join me, I can send you a link. But I was trying to get the screen up. I'm not sure. I think I have to practice that a little bit. I don't want to cut everybody off. There's a little picture of a screen down here. Slides, extra camera, video files. Oh, share screen. What if I click on that? Screen sharing is the easiest with 2 monitors. Screen sharing works best on a good computer. Some screens let you share audio. Look for share screen. Okay. I hope nothing goes wrong here. What do I want to share? Chrome tab, window, entire screen. Hang on, folks. Don't go away. Don't go away. Select a tab to share, window, screen. Okay, like that. All right, so I'm not sure how this works. My goal today was to read a little bit of the story and see if I could get the story like up on the screen, or maybe you'd just rather watch me and Stinky Winky Woos while I read. Let's see. If I click on this, all right. Thank you for having patience with me. What does that look like there? What does that look like? Let's see. Screen. Cinematic. No, sorry. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. All right, the screen I thought was supposed to pop up here in that big black space, but I don't see anything. Let's see. All right. Well, maybe we'll forget that. We'll forget that for now. I'll do some more practicing. I'll do some more practicing. Or you can watch Stinky Winky Woos while I read. You can watch little Stinky Winky Woos while I read. Well, this must be fun to watch with me bouncing all around. Okay. All right, so I'm going to get my story over here and see if I can see the chat and my story at the same time. So at the beginning of my story, there's a big storm and the little ladybug gets rescued by a fairy and she takes her back to the cottage, and the three fairy sisters living together in the little cottage, and the storm is still raging outside the window, and there's a stranger that appears, but they don't discover him till the next day, and it is Wilson the snail, who had lost his shell in a flood, in a river flood. And all that is the whole beginning of the story. And then the three fairy sisters take care of the little ladybug and the snail who lost his shell. And they're starting to heal. And it's early spring. It starts off in early spring, but now it's getting towards the solstice. And the fairies are getting ready for the celebration, for the spring celebration. Like it's the summer celebration, isn't it? Yes, because it starts like on the first day of spring and at the beginning of the book, and then it runs to like the first day of summer. So they're getting ready for the summer celebration, and it's going to be a big party. So they get their gowns ready and they put them out on the clothesline to air out. And Angela's going to mend the ones that need mending. And then the fairies notice that somebody stole all their gowns off the clothesline. And they're going to search for them in the morning. But in the morning, when they're making their plans to search for the gowns, they notice that the snail is missing. So the snail had gone missing the night before, but they were so busy they didn't even notice. And the gowns had gone missing. And we had a nice little discussion. Oh, thank you, Annette. She says, give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up, please. And so we had a fun little discussion about the three fairies and the ladybug are in the kitchen. And when they discover that the gowns are gone and that Wilson is gone, who took the gowns? Why did Wilson leave? Did Wilson take the gowns? Where did the gowns go? Why would Wilson, a snail, who doesn't even have arms, take the gowns? But his snail trail went right by the clothesline where they were hanging outside. So we left off with a lot of questions. Yes, Annette, we left off with a lot of questions about about where Wilson went, what happened to Wilson, where are the gowns, who took the gowns, did the wind blow them away? I mean, there were just all kinds of questions there. And and that's where I left off. That's where I left off, yes. And so I was just going to do a little bit of a reading today. It wasn't going to be a very long live today, no. Okay, I'm bouncing back here between YouTube, StreamYard, and my story. Yes, it's a mystery. Thank you for commenting, Annette. It's a mystery. Yes, it is, Stinky Winky. It's a mystery. Oh, you know what? I just noticed something. I think when I'm looking at this screen on StreamYard, It's like real time almost. But when I look on YouTube and watch the live on the YouTube, it's like a little bit of a delay. Isn't that funny? Yeah, that's kind of strange. All right, it's been 25 minutes already. So we're going to spend a few minutes talking about the story. Yeah, just a little live. Yes, just a little live tonight. And you know, if you have any comments, anybody who's out there, I know there's some gentle listeners and some gentle replayers out there. If you want to leave a comment in chat right now, or if you want to leave a comment below, you know, after this goes up when the live is over about the story, please do so, because I will be giving away some signed copies of this book to those folks who do participate in my Author's Tea Tuesday. Yes. And I think I mentioned this way back at the beginning when I started, but I know I didn't say it for the last couple of weeks. But this is fun. Thank you, Annette. But yes, so those folks who are helping me write this story, yes, will get a free signed copy of the Soggy Bottom fairy tale as soon as it's published, but I have to finish it first, and I do have to draw some pictures and upload it and all that good stuff, but no problem. We'll get there. I plan on having this out by, I'm hoping late winter, because I want it out before spring, because it is the spring story for the Soggy Bottom fairy tales. And then hopefully during, you know, the early spring or sometime, oh, that doesn't give me much time, but that's okay. I was wondering if I could get the summer one out by summer then. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Okay, so let's see. So they're eating breakfast and yes, they're eating breakfast and wondering about the gowns. And you don't think Wilson took the gowns, do you? Angela Rose's eyebrows arched high. I'm not saying that, answered Ruthie Rose. I just feel like we are missing a piece of the puzzle. The sisters all nodded in agreement, and that's where we left off the other day. So I think I'm going to go ahead and read the search, because each fairy goes off in a different direction to search for the gowns in sort of their own kind of way, you know. So this is the next part of the story. After their meal, the fairies gathered again by the clothesline. In the bright morning sunlight, it was painfully clear that the gowns had disappeared. Not a bit of trim, not a length of ribbon, not a scrap of fabric remained. Wilson had also disappeared without a trace. The fairies did not know about the snail trail of rainbows that Bybie had seen in the setting sun the evening before. The shimmering clue had vanished with the morning dew. The fairy sisters decided to separate so they could cover a much larger search area, all of Soggy Bottom, if need be. With a flutter of gossamer wings, Maggie Rose flew north, and Ruthie Rose headed south. Angela Rose walked east with Bybie by her side. Bybie is the little ladybug. But the little bug kept pushing on the fairy's legs, trying to get her to go in the opposite direction. West, Bybie knew. West was the way her snail friend had gone. Excuse me, I need to put a paragraph in there. What's the matter, Bybie? Angela Rose asked. Are you tired of walking? She picked up the little bug and cradled her under her arm. Angela Rose brushed the ferns aside and continued eastward, unaware of what Bybie had seen the evening before. The path led them to where the swamp oaks and maples grew. Angela Rose always felt comforted by their presence. She wondered if the trees might have witnessed Wilson passing by, but understanding their language was not among her fairy skills. She carried Bybie deep into the woods before she sat her down on a cushion of moss beside the trail. "I don't think Wilson came this way," she said. From high overhead, a deep voice echoed through the trees. "Who? Who? Who's Wilson?" And that's the end of that chapter, because that was like the second half of the chapter I had read the last time. So the next chapter is called Search, and this is chapter 8. We're on chapter 8 already. Wow. Will I be reading the whole book? I don't know. Maybe not the last chapter. Or the last 2 chapters. We'll see. Angela Rose knew that voice. She looked up, her eyes scanning the overhead branches. "He's a snail without a shell. We've been caring for him, but now he's disappeared." "A snail? Who? Who lost his home?" asked Edwin the elder. The barred owl lived in the 1,000-year oak longer than anyone could remember. Revered for his wisdom, many sought his counsel. "Go on." The fairy story sparked his interest. Angela Rose told Edwin the story of the early spring storm, the snail who was swept up in the rushing waters of the little river, and how the fairies found him battered and shellless. "Who? Who?" asked Edwin, turning his head towards the little ladybug beetle sitting by the side of the trail. He listened as Angela Rose explained Bibby's mishap with a plastic cup that caused her injuries. "Who? Who?" Edwin asked, turning his head again, and this time looking straight at Angela. At Angela Rose. "Who is leaving something out? I believe there's more to this story." "Howdy, Linda Burton." Angela Rose's eyes widened. "Why, yes, there is. All of our gowns were stolen from our clothesline, and now we have nothing to wear for the summer solstice celebration. We are searching for both Wilson and our party dresses." Edwin's great dark brown eyes slowly closed, then snapped open again. He studied the fairy below. "I haven't seen the snail without a shell that you call Wilson. I will inquire about him during my evening flight and bring you any news." Bybie sat listening to the exchange between the fairy and the owl. She watched with fascination as the owl's head swiveled far to the left and then to the right. Was it going to spin all the way around? Her antenna wiggled in a bug giggle at the thought. But when Edwin admitted he hadn't seen Wilson, her antennae dropped. They drooped. The antennae drooped. Who stole the gowns? I may be able to help you with that problem," said Edwin. Angela Rose clapped her hands together. "That would be wonderful. Do you know what happened to them?" she asked. Who happened to them? I say," Edwin answered. Who? All right, so in this part, the beginning of chapter 8, the 3 fairies had gone off in 3 different directions. Angela Rose walked east because she had Bybie with her, and Bybie couldn't fly yet. She was injured in the cup in the storm. So they're walking east. They go through the ferns and they get into the forest, and Bybie's bumping against Angela's leg like, "You're going in the wrong direction." I saw Wilson go the other way, but she doesn't talk. She just wiggles her antenna around. And Angela thought the bug was tired, so she just picked her up and carried her. And then when they got deep into the forest, she put the bug down, and they caught the attention of the owl, Edwin the owl. Edwin the elder, yes, Edwin the elder. He's the owl, and he's very wise and very old. He knows just about everything that goes on in the forest. So he asked a lot of questions, like who's Wilson and who's the bug, and he's looking at Angela like something else to the story, and she says, "Oh yeah, the gowns are missing." And he did see what happened to the gowns. Yes, he did. And he said, who happened to the gowns? So now, thank you, Annette. So now we know, what do we know now? Well, he hasn't seen Wilson. He hadn't heard about Wilson, but he's seen the gowns. So here's a little hint that, well, maybe Wilson didn't take the gowns, did he? And you know this first because you're here during Author's Tea Live. And that's the question we left off with last week. So, did Wilson take the gowns? Well, the owl hasn't seen Wilson, right? But he's seen the gowns, and he says, who's taking the gowns? He knows who's taking the gowns. Well, I should come in with some kind of voice for the owl, right? Who's taking the gowns? That would be fun. Do I need to do like an audio book, right? I'll have to come up with some voices. Who? Oh, I was thinking, and maybe if you're at a keyboard, I know there's gentle listeners and replayers out there. Oh, Terry's here. Howdy, everyone. Fantastic story. Love all the characters. Love who done it, Terry. Love who done it. It's a who done it, right? So there's a couple mysteries. So we're getting close to solving the mystery of the gowns. I mean, we don't know who did it or where they are, but the owl knows something about it. Tinky, the owl knows something about it. So that's interesting, isn't it? But the story at this point doesn't continue with the owl. It's going to make you wait. Why? Because the other two fairies have headed off in different directions. So now the story is going to jump over to see what the other fairies discover. Maybe they found Wilson or some trace of Wilson, or maybe they've run into somebody or bumped into somebody that might have seen the snail. Annette is saying hi to Terry, and Terry's saying hi to Annette. Yes. I've got myself on StreamYard tonight, so I'm reading StreamYard. I also have my YouTube Live open on my channel, and I also have my story open on my screen. And I was going to try and see if I could put the story up on the screen, but like a split screen so you could see the story while I read, and and you can watch the mayor at the same time. You can watch the mayor at the same time, yes. Oh, it's going to be heavy holding her for another 10 minutes. So, should we go on a little bit more? It's only been about, 40 minutes or something, almost 40 minutes, yes. I can do a little bit more, at least another 10 minutes or so. I didn't want to make it too long because I know the replayers come in and, they want to hear the story. But I know when you're here live, the time just goes by so quickly because we're chatting, right? Okay, so I read that part. I gotta scroll down. All right, so the next part is about Maggie. Now, each of the fairies have their own little personality, and we know that Angela Rose was the caring one, right? She was the loving, caring, healing fairy. Their magic, good idea, Patty. Technology is a real challenge. Thanks, Terry. They all have very subtle magic. And I was talking to my sister about this, the one I did the live with the week before, the one who wrote the little book, Tiny Hands Change the World. And I was like, I wrote at least half the book, maybe 2/3 of the book. And I was like, there was no magic. I was like, there's got to be magic. And the magic has to do with, their personality, their characters. And it has to be subtle. I didn't want them to have wands waving around bibbity bobbity boo, like where are you going? Like a Disney cartoon, because it's very nature based. And so I was talking a lot about the nature and the trees and the moss and the lichen and all this stuff. But I went back and I was like, oh, I gotta put in some magic. There has to be magic, but it's gotta be subtle magic that fits their personality and what they're doing, and not so much, um, yeah, like I said, waving the wand around like bibbity bobbity boo. My arms need a break. That's a big cat. Oh, okay. And so the first fairy to go search is Angela Rose, and she's the caring one. So of course she has Bybee with her, right? She has Bybee with her, and they're walking through. They meet Edwin the Elder, the owl, and he knows where the gowns are. But the next part of the story now jumps over to Maggie Rose. Okay, now Maggie Rose is the one who's always in the kitchen, and she's always baking up stuff, right? So what is her magic? We really haven't seen. She wants to go see Mr. Possum. That's a good thing. My arms need a break. Stand by. I gotta open the door. Go ahead. She might be back. She might be just going to get a drink or something. Okay, where was I? So we haven't seen much of Maggie Rose's magic yet. We know she's always in the kitchen baking, and her hands are full of flour, baking flour, and she gets it on her face and all this stuff. Angela Rose, we did see her with her caring touch, like pat the seeds into the ground and tell them it's time to grow. And then there was this scene in very early spring with the violets, and she was dancing around, and when she touched the little sprout, it grew, and the flowers bloomed and all that. And we saw that. And we saw a little bit of Ruthie Rose's magic, because she has the apron with all the pockets, and it's like magical the way when she needs something, it comes out of a pocket, right? It comes out of a pocket, comes out of a pocket. But what about Maggie Rose? We know she's the cook, but she hasn't had a magical scene yet in the story. So that magical scene is coming up. As soon as I take a little break and a little tea, because it's a long scene. Maybe I'll do the whole searchy thing. We'll see. I'll have to get somebody who knows how to do a lot of voices to do that owl scene. Whoo, whoo. The owl scene. All right. I had fun writing that. I wonder what she's cooking up. You're being very creative in that. Yes, you are. All right, Maggie Rose. Maggie Rose headed north towards the little river. She thought Wilson might be searching for his lost shell along its banks. Oh, that makes sense. Cautiously, she fluttered between the trees, looking for any sign of a slimy snail trail. At midday, she landed in a meadow to rest and have a snack. Sitting on a soft patch of dried grass, Maggie Rose reached into her shoulder bag and pulled out a scone wrapped in a cloth and a small gourd filled with tea and honey. She placed her drink on the ground and unwrapped the scone. Just as she was about to take a bite, she felt a movement below her. "Oh!" she exclaimed. She jumped up to her feet and suspiciously looked back. She jumped up to her feet and suspiciously looked back at her seat. She hesitated, then lifted the dried grass and peeked underneath. Annette, what do you think was there? What do you think was there? This is one of the little nature bits I put in. 6 baby cottontail rabbits cuddled together in a nest of their mother's fur. They wiggled their noses and looked up at the fairy with large brown eyes. "I'm so sorry," Maggie Rose apologized. "I didn't mean to sit on you." All of the kits started talking at once. "That's okay. Are you a fairy? I think you bruised my tail. Can I touch your wings? What are you eating? Mama won't be back until dusk." They're all talking at the same time. Convincing them to speak one at a time, Maggie Rose learned that this litter belonged to her friend, Cooper Cottontail. She decided to stay with the young ones until their mother returned. If Cooper could spread the word about the fairy sisters' search, they would have a whole warren of rabbits to help find them. Oh, they would have a whole warren of rabbits to help them find, sorry, Wilson and the missing gowns. Should I read that again? Cooper could spread the word about the fairy sisters' search. If Cooper could spread the word about the fairy sisters' search, they would have a whole warren of rabbits to help them find Wilson and the missing gowns. That's how it reads. Wilson, no, Wilson. Oh, that was a good guess, Annette. Yes. Linda, I didn't expect that. Cottontail rabbits make a little, like light in the lawn, like in the grass. The nest is very shallow, and they put their babies in, and they cover them with the dried dead grasses. So if you have like a perfectly green lawn, and you see this patch of dead grasses just like woven and sitting there, if you lift it up, there might be a nest of baby rabbits in there, but be careful because, you know, there could be like a ground wasp kind of nest there too. Yes, so I have nature in here, yes. So we have rabbits that live right here in the yard. So I put that in because everything is based on Soggy Bottom, like the ferns and the forest and the rabbits and some other things that show up. The ladybugs, the owl. Edwin the owl is a barred owl, and we have a barred owl who lives out over there. Maybe Maggie Rose could cook up a magic treat that, when eaten, makes the person who eats it tell the truth. Truth biscuits. Okay. Convincing them to speak one at a time, Maggie Rose learned that this litter, oh, I read that 3 times. I'm not going to read it again. Maggie Rose broke her scone once, twice, and yet again. Was it her kitchen magic that turned one small scone into 7 large ones? No fighting now. There's plenty for everyone, as she laughed as she handed out the treats. Some tea and honey, she added, filling 6 cups from her drinking gourd to wash it down. Afterwards, they played leaping games and sang songs about clover and carrots. The afternoon passed quickly, and before long, the sun hung low in the sky. The moment Cooper returned, the kits rushed to greet her. With joyful hops and excited voices, they told her all about their day. I touched her silky wings. The scones were deliciously crumbly. They had blueberries in them. I leaped the furthest, and I won the contest. Maggie Rose taught us songs. I drank 2 cups of tea. They all talk at the same time, so that part's hard to read. Cooper settled them down, gave them supper, and tucked them back into the nest. When all was quiet, Maggie Rose told the mother rabbit about the mystery of the missing snail and the disappearance of the fairy gowns. After hearing her story, Cooper agreed to spread the word and help the fairy sisters. So I thought this was a cute little scene. It had lots of nature about the rabbits, and I did put in the proper way you call them, and the baby rabbits are kits. It's a little bit of nature learning there. Oh, like Possum Peep Corinne did in her book about Hobart the lobster, right? You kind of learn about the lobster nature as you read the story. So we're learning about the nature at Soggy Bottom as we go through the story. So I have cottontail rabbits, and that's how they raise their babies in a little nest. Very shallow, just dried grasses on top, yes. So where's the third fairy? We have 10 minutes. We have just enough time to find out what Ruthie Rose is up to. Ruthie Rose went south towards the lowlands, a wondrous stretch of bogs and boulders. She flew high, fast, and straight, for she had a plan. The elves, known for their uncanny ability to find lost items, might be able to help if she could locate them. Ooh, Ruthie Rose is out to find the elves. Remember, they were talking about the elves when they were planning the summer solstice celebration. there's like, oh, they were wondering if the elves were going to come to the celebration, the summer celebration. Well, now Ruthie Rose is on the way to find them. Elves, yes, Annette, the elves. They're very mysterious. Um, yeah, they're very mysterious characters in book one. They're sort of there, but they're, they're like in the background. They're in the woods. They're, they're not like out and about and yakety like the fairies are. No, they're a totally separate kind of creature going on. Very mysterious. The elves never stayed long. The elves never stayed in place for long. The plot thickens. I'm sorry, I'm reading the chat. The elves never stayed in one place for long. They traveled silently through the woods, leaving no trace except a sweet, earthy smell as they passed. Ruthie Rose knew of a gathering place where they danced in the moonlight, and she was headed there now. As the sun reached its peak in the sky, she caught the glimmer of blue crystals below. She smiled and slowly drifted down to land atop White Rock, a great flat boulder ringed by bubbling springs. Of course, it's the wrong time of the day to find anyone here, she voiced her first thought aloud. Ruthie Rose used her hands to shield her eyes from the bright sunlight bouncing off the rock as she scanned its empty surface. She reached into one of her apron's pockets and pulled out a wide-brimmed hat and plopped it on her head. Better. She started across White Rock, her sharp eyes looking for any clues that the elves might have recently visited this space. She picked up a piece of moss and rubbed it between her fingers, still moist. She lifted a wild rose petal to her nose, still fragrant. Ruthie Rose put her hands on her hips. The elves were here not a day ago. She spoke loudly, just in case someone was nearby listening. The elves were here not a day ago. She said this out loud. She knelt and touched the warm, smooth surface of the rock. Her fingers lingered over the blue vein of kyanite, a gemstone known for its power of communication. Since the elves were not, I gotta change the page, on White Rock, she would use the rock itself to help her find them. So she had an idea. She flew straight to White Rock. Down in the bogs was a big flat white rock, and it had little sparkles of these blue crystals called kyanite in it. And yes, there is a sparkly rock out in the back here with some kyanite crystals in it, but little tiny, tiny ones. You almost need like a magnifying glass to see them, but they're there. Yes, they are, because this is all Soggy Bottom. All Soggy Bottom. Oh. And so she's got her apron, and she used her magical pocket to pull out the hat to block the sun, because she's getting all that reflection off the white rock, right? Good idea, using the rock for communication. Okay, so how's she going to do that now? So we got a little scene coming up here. Still touching the kyanite, she closed her eyes and pictured the elves in her mind. They were tall and slender, with fine silver hair that danced in the wind. Their green eyes glowed in the dark like those of a wolf spider. She could see them gracefully dancing while their bell-like voices rang out in song. Elves of Soggy Bottom, if you can hear me, I need your help, she whispered. Ruthie Rose immediately felt a strange tickling sensation rising from the rock and moving up her arm. Good day. Well met, and most heartily, he cheerfully greeted. Oh, wait, I left out a paragraph. That made no sense, right? She opened her eyes and stared into the face of a white-footed mouse with its whiskers brushed against her arm. A white-footed mouse as its whiskers brushed against her arm. I'm not reading very well this evening, sorry. She opened her eyes and stared into the face of a white-footed mouse as its whiskers brushed against her arm. Sometimes I have to read things twice. Good day, well met, and most heartily. He cheerfully greeted the fairy. Oh, hello, Romeo, replied Ruthie Rose, a little disappointed at seeing a mouse instead of an elf. Romeo sensed the tone of her voice and bowed gallantly. My lady, many apologies that it is but I, thy humble and loyal four-footed friend. I am glad to see you, little friend, she said as she reached out and scratched the mouse behind his ear. I called out to the elves because I need their help. The elves did enjoy a merry dance here this past evening tide. Under a night sky a-twinkle with 1,000 stars, they pranced until the breaking of this new day. Then they made haste and vanished among the trees, Romeo said, waving his paw from the now empty rock to the woods far beyond. With a knowing smile, he added, yet I do know where they now rest. Oh, Romeo, she asked, could you bring them a message? I am at thy beck and call, but speak the word, Lady Ruth of the Rose, Romeo answered, and it will be done before thou hast drawn thy breath anew. Yes, Betty, I sneak in environmental teachings. Ruthie Rose sat on the edge of the rock, legs swinging in the air. She shared her lunch with her and her story of the missing snail and the missing gowns with the little rodent. Yes, so Romeo, the mouse, speaks sort of Shakespeareanish. The mouse whose name is Romeo, and I said this in one of my Author Tea Tuesdays, that many of the names come from my family tree. And Cooper Cottontail, Cooper is a family name, and Romeo, or Romeo, I'm going to call him Romeo in the story, Romeo is a family name. And I was like, how can I make the dialogue different for the different characters? So the owl, Edwin the owl, Edwin is a name in my family tree too. So they all have names. So Edwin the owl speaks like an owl. Who is that, right? Like everything begins with a who. And then the rabbit, Cooper Cottontail, kind of just talks sort of normalish. But the babies, yeah, they all just talk all at one time. That's hard to write, but the babies are all talking at one time, you know, jumping and running and talking at the same time. And then I got to the mouse, and I wanted to call him Romeo. And I'm like, well, how can I make his dialogue sound different from the rabbit dialogue and the owl dialogue? And I was like, oh, Romeo, he's gotta talk Shakespearean, right? He's gotta talk Shakespearean. Thank you, Annette. She says, loving the family connection by you using names. So he does come back in the story later on, and he's still talking the same. Yes, he'll still be talking the same. Oh, and there's the black-capped chickadee. Oh, I finished that just in time. Yes. So the next chapter, next week. So today was all about getting Christina Lorenzen's book. I opened it up, did an unboxing, and reading this section, chapter 8, The Search, and how each fairy went off in a different direction and a different manner. So Angela Rose was walking with Bybie. She meets the owl. He knows where the gowns are. But then we jump over to, who was next? Maggie Rose. And she went towards the little river. And she's flying carefully between the trees. And she's looking for a snail trail, right? A snail trail. Or Wilson looking at a shell down by the river. And so each part of the search is completely different. And then Ruthie Rose, she flies straight and fast, like I'm going to this rock, right? And see if the elves have seen Wilson or the gowns or something, or to get them to help her find Wilson and the gowns. And then she gets to the rock, and yes, she knows that the kyanite in the rock is a crystal of communication. So she's using that, and she closes her eyes and she feels the tingling, but it's the mouse's whiskers and it's Romeo. So Ruthie Rose has Romeo, who's to a sister, and he's going to tell the elves. So will the elves help? What do the elves find? What are the elves going to find? Who are these mysterious elves? When are they going to show up in the story? And yeah, so that's a little bit of a mystery right there. The mouse is somehow getting a message to the elves, right? And these elves, they're kind of on their own out there. Are they going to help? Are they going to help the fairies find the gowns and the missing snail? And then, of course, Maggie Rose with the rabbits. There's a lot of rabbits, right? There's a lot of rabbits. A warren is like a whole community of rabbits. And so the rabbits can hop fast, and there's tons of them, and they can go everywhere and spread the word and help with the search. And then, then we're back to Angela and the owl, and he knows where the gowns are. So that's the 3 prongs of my search chapter right there. Thank you, Annette. That's the 3 prongs of the search chapter. That wasn't easy to write. No. That wasn't easy to write. And I had to rewrite it a couple of times. It might still need some tweaking. This whole thing will get rewritten after it's all done, because then you have to go back and smooth everything out. But I like the direction that the 3 different searches are going in, because now we've met 3 new characters. We've met 3 new characters, the owl, the rabbit, and the mouse. And each one has its distinct personality, and we know a little bit about each one, at least the way they talk or their mannerisms or the description, something about them. So we've just added 3 new characters that the 3 sister fairies met on their search. So what's going to happen next? What's going to happen next? Okay. Next chapter, I'm not reading it tonight. You'll have to come back for that next week. This is like a serial, like a once-a-week story, right? Cliffhanger till next week. So what's going to happen next week? Stay tuned. Yes, stay tuned, says Annette. Stay tuned. So what's going to happen next week? Are we going to go back to the owl and Angela Rose? Or are we going to meet another new character? Will there be a backstory? Hint, hint, hint. Just like Wilson showed up, the snail, at the beginning of the story, just a shadow that collapsed into a mud puddle. I hope everybody's following along, because I keep referring back to the story. So really you have to watch all the author's teas to follow along. I'm sorry. Maybe at some point I'll just record a reading of the story all the way, and people can listen to it that way. I know it's hard to get them in little chunks. But yeah, so just as Wilson the snail is a howl out on the wind, out in the storm, and they find him the next day, and then it goes to the backstory about how he got there, right? And that whole thing where he's at the fairy mushroom ring and the river and the storm and the flood, and he loses his shell. And then it goes back to the fairies again. So we lost Wilson, we lost the gowns, they're on a search. The owl knows where the gowns are and who has taken them. So who is this who going to be? Do we need another backstory? Are we going to have another backstory? Of course we are. Of another character who's coming in. right? The one who actually took the gowns. And this chapter is kind of cute too. So I hope you come back next Tuesday night. Next Tuesday night. Yes, Linda, thank you. You're an awesome possum peep for hanging in there for all these stories. Yes. And if anybody's listening that missed part of the stories, just go to my channel and go to all the Author Tea Tuesdays. Patty, I'm so happy you like the happy mail I sent you. I was so excited you used some of the fairies right away. Love your story, very quaint. Thank you, Terry. Thank you. Oh, of course I loved your happy mail. Oh, and it's still right here. It hasn't gone far. Down here under the table in the bag, right? Down here. I did try to clean up a little bit, you know, because Tuesday night folks are coming over to visit. And here you are. So I tried to do a little cleaning up. I organized some things and I cleaned up a little bit. Yes. Yes. So backstory coming up next. So if anybody would just like to pop in any of their last thoughts before we go. I'm so happy I caught you live too. Thank you, Annette. Kate said, this hour just flew. I really enjoyed your story. Glad I finally caught a live. Thanks, Possum Patty. Thank you, Kate, for popping in. Oh, I do this because I want comments either from the replayers or the people in chat or the gentle listeners, because this is reading it out loud and just talking about it really helps, right? And if you have any comments that you would like to pop in before we say goodbye, please do that now or come back later and put them in the comments below. Because like I said, I will be choosing the folks who help me out during the Author's Tea Live to get their free signed copies of the book when it's published. Before spring. Yes, definitely before spring. It'll be published before spring. So I'll give you guys just a second to do that. And I'm going to have a sip of tea. Thank you, Patty, said Annette. Thank you, Annette, for all your comments. Yes, have a good night, everyone, says Annette. It's been an hour. It went by very quickly. And don't forget, next Tuesday night, 7 o'clock, we will find out who stole the gowns. Be there. Stay tuned. Yes, stay tuned for that mystery. But what's going to happen after that? Oh my, there's a lot more that happens. I'm scrolling through the story. A lot more happens. Yes. Okay. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming by today and helping me with the story. I just want to say thank you, Annette. Looking forward. Thank you so much, Annette, for chatting. And Terry, thanks for popping in. I did love your happy mail. More of it will be going into a journal. Thank you, Kate L., for coming for the very first time. Welcome, welcome, Kate. I hope you come back. Yes. And Linda B., you're a trooper. Thanks for being there for me all the time. Yes. And Betty. Thank you, Betty. Betty loves how I sneak in environmental teachings. I think I got everybody. I'm scrolling back. I think that was it. Oh, and Elizabeth. Thank you. Elizabeth was the first one here. Thank you, Elizabeth. And I hope I didn't leave anyone out. But good night to you all. Thank you again so, so, so much. And I hope I see everyone next Tuesday night on Author's Tea Tuesday. Bye-bye. Oh, Linda says, see you all Friday. Patty, I'll see you in the next video. Fridays at noon. Friday at noon. There's a chat and journal live. And it is, journaling. Tuesday night, we're focusing on books. But on Friday at noon, it's about journaling. Okay, bye-bye. I got to go cause an earthquake. Oh, no, I don't have to do that anymore. Yes, that's what I liked about the live stream on StreamYard, because I can just press the button here. I don't have to get up there and walk around the camera. Good night. Bye-bye. Thank you all. Love ya.